Here's a message from our sponsor for today's video. Pick a Trip is a super easy to use travel booking app where you can get the best deals on flights and hotels without getting redirected to other third-party sites. You can easily view the available flight schedules from various airline companies, full hotel room details, view your full travel itinerary, and pay everything off in one single app with your Visa card to enjoy exclusive deals. Download the app on the Apple App Store and Google Play at absolutely no charge.
When Apple first announced the iPhone XR, I was very much anticipating it as I've been using the iPhone 8, skipping the iPhone X because it was a pricier model back then, and I didn't think that it was necessary to spend so much for a dual camera and an OLED screen. Plus, I was losing my Touch ID. But now that I've been using the XR for about half a month now, I'm ready to share my thoughts with you on this iPhone. First of all, the XR has a 6.1-inch LCD display unlike the OLED display on the iPhone X and the XS series. Because I've been using the iPhone 8, I don't see much difference when I'm using the XR except that it has a bigger display, which I'm loving because I Netflix on my phone all the time. I personally prefer the XR screen size because it's the perfect fit for my hand size, the X being a bit too small for my constant Netflix and the XS Max being too big for me to use the phone one-handedly. If you're someone upgrading from the iPhone X, I believe you'll also be able to notice the color contrast and vibrancy that is less impressive on the XR. You know what? If you're switching from the X to the XR, you'll also notice the thick bezels that many found disturbing, but like I said, I was an iPhone 8 user, so I got used to it very quickly. Now, many people have been talking about how the XR does not have a 1080p display, but the truth is Apple's doing a great job creating awesome display with great color accuracy despite that it's not a 1080p screen. When I compare the XR's display to this Mi A2 1080p display, the XR display is actually much brighter and the colors on the screen are more vibrant. The Mi A2 display also has a slightly redder tint, which is why the color accuracy on the XR is slightly better. This is why when purchasing a smartphone, I would definitely suggest that you experience the phone firsthand instead of making assumptions based on the specs because it does make a difference. One thing I miss about iPhones though is the Touch ID. I personally think it's more convenient than the Face ID, probably because I'm always using my phone when it's on the table or the bed. It's just easier to place your finger on the home button to unlock your phone and authorize App Store downloads instead of always picking up your phone to allow Face ID. I did try to unlock the phone while it's on the table, but sometimes it just doesn't work, which could be because of my face angle or the distance between my face and my phone. Either way, I feel that the Touch ID was much easier to unlock my phone at times like this. The XR also uses haptic touch instead of 3D touch, which has less functionality. You can basically long press on things like the flashlight, the camera, and whatnot, but when it comes to pressing on apps, it will not show you shortcuts like the iPhone X, XS, or even the older iPhone 8. As I've mentioned before, I've rarely used the 3D touch on my iPhone 8 back then, so the XR's haptic touch is actually good enough for me. In terms of build quality, I prefer the XR's aluminium frame compared to the stainless steel frame on the XS because it's lighter and also less prone to scratches. The camera bump still sticks out, but once you put on a case, you won't feel that much of a difference. The XR definitely has improved speakers over my iPhone 8, but when it's compared to the XS Max, the audio on the XS Max is slightly louder and clearer. That aside, the sound quality is great and it has wider stereo playback than my iPhone 8. If you're like me and have the most basic knowledge on audio, just know that it's loud and clear enough for music and video playbacks. Now the XR has similar IP67 rating with the iPhone X, so it is only water resistant up to 1 meter for half an hour instead of 2 meter like the iPhone XS IP68. The XR also comes with 1GB less than the 4GB RAM in the XS series, so while it can't keep as many apps alive in the background compared to the XS, it is still working faster than the iPhone X and iPhone 8. This could also be contributed by the A12 Bionic chip that promises faster performance and better power efficiency, and also the ability for the new iPhones to perform depth control on portrait mode, which we will get to later. Now the new iPhones come with iOS 12 that has many new updates such as the alternative Face ID, the group notifications to reduce messy long spams of notifications on your lock screen, and also the screen time feature that provide you with information on the time you spend on apps so you can better manage your phone usage. It also has a new Do Not Disturb options that allow you to set how long you want the mode to be activated, and you can even set it to deactivate when you leave a certain place. Now apart from the fact that the XR does not come with dual rear camera, it is equal with the XS series when it comes to the true depth camera, smart HDR, and also 4K video recording and cinematic video stabilization. The camera has a 12 megapixel lens but lacks the telephoto lens in the XS series, but even with its single lens, it's performing great in photo taking. Thanks to the A12 Bionic chip, the XR has portrait mode that is unavailable on the iPhone 8 and the depth control that is unavailable on the iPhone 10. The depth control allows me to adjust the depth of field of my images, and so far it doesn't look like a bad Photoshop edit. And because of the ability to control the depth of the background, I can always adjust the aperture to be slightly higher to prevent the picture from looking too fake. The low-light photography is also better with the XR as it doesn't overexpose certain part of the image compared to the iPhone 10. Compared to the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X's Auto HDR, the Smart HDR on the XR is better at balancing the highlights and shadows in pictures. The pictures taken on the XR is also more vibrant and detailed compared to the iPhone 8, despite that both of the lenses are 12 megapixels. Now the video recording is something I don't usually explore, but the 4K recording with cinematic stabilization on the XR is simply amazing. Usually you'll need a gimbal to stabilize your camera when you're taking videos while you're on the move, but with the stabilization in the XR, the handheld recordings works just fine and the colors are great, almost lifelike. Besides the iOS 12 that offers better power efficiency, the XR also has less pixels to push than the XS series and has a better processor than the iPhone 10, which all contributes to the longer battery life. I think the XR's battery is by far one of the best from Apple because it can actually last me a day or more, whereas on my iPhone 8, my usual usage will only last me half a day before I need to recharge it. I used the XR a few days back, and in addition to my usual usage, I've also used it for a photo shoot session taking almost 600 photos, yet it was around 17% by the time it was 7 PM. It is disappointing that Apple has yet to provide a fast charging cable and power adapter in the box itself because given its premium pricing, I believe the least they can do is give better accessories. Now the real question is whether you should get the XR or not. If you're upgrading from models that are older than the iPhone X, the XR would be a great choice because it's cheaper than the XS and the XS Max. However, the XS and the XS Max would definitely be a better choice if you want louder speakers, a secondary rear camera, and an OLED screen. The thing is, are you willing to spend an extra 1,400 ringgit for the XS or an extra 1,800 ringgit for the XS Max for the extra features? If you're not, I believe the XR will be a great choice of upgrade from the outdated designs of the iPhone 8 models. The XR also comes with various vibrant colors such as blue, yellow, and coral. I think the colors are great, they're fun, and they bring out different personalities. So for a cheaper price, you can actually get an iPhone with fun colors with most of the best specs Apple can provide. So this is my full review of the iPhone XR. If you already have one and you're using it, feel free to share your thoughts with me in the comment section down below. Remember to subscribe to our channel KLGadgetTV, and I'll see you in the next video.